I guess we're just gonna embrace all the crazy hairs that are sprouting out all over my head. But welcome back to another 50 States of Strange, where I talk about the weird and strange in every state, and I paint a creepy painting while I do that. Today I'm gonna be talking about Sweet Home, Alabama, and my true crime segment is a pretty interesting one today, not gonna lie. I thought it was interesting at least. So sit back, grab a snack, or wine, or whatever your vice is, and we're going to be talking about some weird stuff today. Let's get into it. All right, let's kick it off with some urban legends and some paranormal stuff, shall we? Something about haunted playgrounds really freaks me out, and there is a haunted playground that you can find in Huntsville, Alabama. It's called Dead Children's Playground, and this playground is by a cemetery. And it is said that the children who are buried in the cemetery still play here. People have witnessed the swings swinging on their own, orbs flying around, and ghostly specters walking through the playground. If playgrounds are not your thing, then you can hop on over to Mobile, Alabama, and you can visit a haunted oak tree. The story goes that there was a man named Charles Boynton who was wrongly executed. He claimed up until he was executed that if he was innocent, an oak tree would grow from his heart, proving his innocence, and lo and behold, an oak tree grew from his grave. And you can go see this big oak tree. People claim that they hear weird noises and they see weird things around the tree. So very interesting. Might want to check it out. Alabama is also home to some interesting river monsters. There have been sightings of a river serpent that is claimed to be up to 25 feet long, and these sightings start back all the way in 1822. Is it there? I would not honestly be surprised. In those rivers and swamps down south, I guarantee you there are some prehistoric things in there. Okay? Moving on to a couple ghosts for you. The first one is Huggin' Molly. Huggin' Molly appears to kids at night. She is described as at least 7 feet tall, wearing a hat and dark clothes. And if you are out past your curfew at night walking around and you're a kid and you didn't listen to your parents and go home, Huggin' Molly will come up, grab you, and scream into your ear while hugging you extensively, and then let you go. And so apparently the kids experience ringing ears from her screaming in their ears. Honestly, a really creepy thing to tell your kids, even though there's not a huge element of danger to it. It's honestly really unsettling. Yeah, I don't think I want to run into Huggin' Molly. No, thank ya. Side note, it's gonna look really weird right now because I painted this portion with the time lapse on my phone, and then I decided later that I wanted it to be spread out a little bit more for time purposes so I could finish talking about what I needed to talk about. So I'm really sorry if it looks awkward during this time. Just bear with me. It's only for a second. Now this next ghost is a badass woman. Her name is Aunt Jenny Johnson, and in Huntsville, Alabama, this legend goes that during the Civil War, the Home Guard hung Jenny's husband and shot her oldest son. So Jenny and her other sons vowed to get revenge on the men responsible for their deaths, and they were able to kill 7 of the 8 people responsible before Jenny passed. And it is said if you go onto her property now, her ghost will appear and, for lack of kinder phrasing, just tell you to go away, The last thing for the paranormal list for Alabama is going to be Hell's Gate Bridge. This is in Oxford, Alabama. As you can see, it is the muse for my painting. And this one has a couple interesting stories surrounding it. One story is that a couple died here, and if you stop your car on the bridge and you turn your lights off, one of the people will come sit in your vehicle. And when you check your back seat, there will be a wet spot left behind from where they came and sat. Spooky. It is also said that if you walk on the bridge and you stop and you turn around and look behind you, that you will literally see the fiery gates of hell. So again, super creepy. The bridge is now closed through traffic. It's dilapidated. It's not very safe to walk or drive on. So if you are around this bridge and you decide to go take a look at it, do not mess with it, okay? just be safe, look from afar. Okay, we are about to transition over to the true crime portion. It is a big one today because I have just, for some reason, been on a roll with really big true crime portions of my episodes. If you want that to be different, I will change it up next time. But for today, we are going to be talking about Audrey Marie Hilley, aka Audrey Marie Frazier, and a bunch of other names. This woman is insane. Viewer discretion is advised. Let's talk about this crazy woman. Audrey married Frank Hilley in 1951, and soon thereafter they had 2 kids named Mike and Carol. Frank had a really good job, so he was bringing in some pretty decent amount of money, and Audrey also had a secretary job. So they should have been really well off financially. However, Audrey had a spending problem, and so the 2 of them had virtually no savings, and it was just a big mess financially. And unbeknownst to Frank, Audrey decides that she is going to start sleeping with her boss for some extra money and to get good evals at work. While this is going on, Frank and their son Mike start to fall ill, and they go to the doctor, and the doctor just says it's like a stomach flu, and they keep having all these symptoms. But Frank actually starts to feel better when he leaves the house to go and attend seminary. Here's a better view of the finished painting. Okay, so like I said, he starts feeling better when he goes to seminary, but when he comes back home, he catches Audrey in bed with her boss. So as you can imagine, that just creates a whole new problem because not only are they having struggles in their marriage in other places, but now she is sleeping with her boss. So this all creates, like a domino effect in their marriage falling apart. But on top of this, he is still dealing with the stomach issue because now that he's back home, the stomach flu or whatever he had going on gets even worse and starts ramping back up again. In May of 1975, Frank gets diagnosed with infectious hepatitis, and on May 25th, so literally within that same month, Frank ends up passing away. They do an autopsy on Frank, which Audrey approves, and they just find that he has all of the symptoms that you would associate finding in someone who has died of hepatitis. So he's got a swollen stomach, he has swollen kidneys, he has inflamed lungs, and there's liquid in the lungs, so he has pneumonia. Yeah, everything looks bad because it looks like it does when someone has hepatitis. So no one was even remotely thinking anything else at this point. Audrey had a life insurance policy out on him for about $30,000, and so she gets that and goes about her business. So 3 years goes by, and then she ends up taking out a life insurance policy for $25,000 on her daughter, Carol. Now, Carol's fine. She's doing whatever she's doing with her life. But, Audrey just decides that she's gonna, prep just in case something ever would happen. Well, a few months after this life insurance policy is taken out, Carol starts getting a weird stomach flu. Yeah, imagine that. But this is so sad because Carol not only gets so sick that the doctors don't know what to do with her. They're checking her for everything and they can't figure it out. She is so distraught and so sick and all that to the point where she ended up even being put into a mental hospital for a little bit because basically she's being gaslit and she knew something was wrong with her, but no one could figure out what was wrong with her. And they just kind of made her deal with it for a very long time until finally someone else steps in. She finally starts getting treatment at the University of Alabama, and while she's here, her mom Audrey gets arrested for writing bad checks. I just realized looking back at the video that I ended up doing my eyeliner uneven today, and it is super noticeable sometimes in this video, and I'm very sorry. It's driving me nuts. Anyway, all while Audrey is dealing with the police and stuff for all the crap that she has to do with her bad checks, Carol gets tested at the University of Alabama while she's being treated, and they find that she has 10 times the amount of arsenic found in a normal person. So due to this information, they decide that they're going to exhume Frank, and when they exhume Frank, they find that he has between 10 times up to 100 times the amount of normal arsenic found in a human body. Now, they say that huge gap because since the body has been sitting there, it's possible that it could have been upwards to 100 times the normal amount while he was alive, and then, you know, decreasing over time. But what the actual, that is so much. So they arrest Audrey for the checks and also attempted murder, but she gets released on bail. Oh my gosh. She then decides to go to a motel, use a fake name, and she leaves a note basically saying that she's been like kidnapped or whatever, and then she just dips. So when this news comes out about her like poisoning her family, essentially, there are other people that come forward that say that they have gone to their house before, or they've been around her and they've like felt ill and stuff like that after they've drank or ate something at her house before. So it's possible that this lady was just like, you know what, I might poison my whole neighborhood. I don't care, whatever. Everyone's involved at this point. And this lady doesn't get caught for over 3 years. And yeah, it's insane. I'm not done yet. Just wait. During this 3-year time span that she's been off pretending to be somebody else, she marries another man, and she, you know, creates like this fake life, telling him a bunch of stories. And one of these stories is that she has a sister in Texas, and she tells him that she needs to go visit her one day. And so she's like, "Okay, I will be back. See you later. Bye." Well, while she's in Texas visiting her fake sister, she dies. And, you know, they put an obituary in the paper and all that stuff. And yeah. Now, when police see this obituary in the paper, they get really suspicious. And they're like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is that Audrey lady. And so she ends up, like, she faked it. Okay, she wasn't actually dead. So she goes back and she leaves a note for her husband at the time, not the dead one, the live one right now, and basically asks for forgiveness. And then she takes off again, but this time he calls the police because I'm sure this poor man is like, what the hell's going on? So she finally gets arrested, and when they arrest her, she admits to everything with her actual name, you know, like the bad checks, attempted murder, all the good stuff. Yeah. So in terms of the bad check situation, the attempted murder of her daughter, and Frank, they sentence her to 20 years in prison, which I think is a lot less than what she should get, but whatever. And while she's in prison, she works her way up to getting like some visiting days or whatever. But during one of these visiting days, she freaking escapes. She doesn't make it 3 years this time, however. She only makes it about 4 days, and while she was out, there was like drop in temperatures, and I'm pretty sure it was raining. I can't remember, I didn't write it down. I think there was rain and stuff during this time too. But either way, the elements affected her greatly because she ended up getting hypothermia. And so while the EMTs are like working on her and transporting her in the ambulance, she ends up dying of a heart attack due to just like the stress of what her body was going through while she was out in the woods after she escaped. So yeah, crazy, pretty evil woman. And it seems like she got a karmatic ending. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm gonna make that a word, and I'm gonna use that to describe this situation. The end. Thank you guys for sticking around for another 50 States of Strange. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will be traveling within the next couple weeks. So like next week should be a normal schedule for this, but starting like the second week of March, things might be a little all over the place. But I'm going to do my absolute best to not only stay on top of posting on a regular basis, but try to post even more, because I'm going to once again be doing some more paranormal content and things like that. So keep your eyes peeled because I have a juicy paranormal video coming out for you guys soon. But yeah, stay safe out there and see you later. Boo-bye.